This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome into Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Grace Remington alongside Will Hill, ready for another jam-packed weekend of sports. Yesterday was fun. Today we got quite a few baseball games teeing off in just minutes. We have an NBA game later tonight, the NHL in action now. Lots of motorsports if those don't get rained out. The golf tournament in Fort Worth, Texas, about to wrap up. But, Will, before we get into these baseball bets, how you doing today?
I am good. I always appreciate you asking. How are you? A lot of baseball going on, a lot of baseball starting, a hockey game, NBA game, you mentioned it. Golf, tennis, we've got a full slate here, so it should be good.
I appreciate you appreciating me for asking. So let's get into it. We have the Phillies and the Athletics starting in just a few minutes. I'm looking at some overs here, but I want to hear your take first. We got Jesus Luzardo and Gunnar Hoglund on the mound, the number 14 prospect for the A's out of Ole Miss, hotty toddy. But what do you like in this one?
Yeah, the Jesus Lizard. He's been pretty good here facing his former team. I played his under 2.5 earned runs. If you just look at the game log, I think it's 10 starts. 9 of them have gone under the 2.5. One of them went over, and that was only 3. I understand it's a small little bandbox of a ballpark. The A's, we think, have a good lineup, although they have not hit lately. They have not played well at all, and that was a terrible loss for them last night. I don't know if you saw that, where they gave the homer late. Had bases loaded, nobody out, and extras with the ghost runner. Just needed a run, couldn't get that run home. I like under 2.5 runs. I would actually, it's dangerous. I would lean towards an under first 5 at 5.5. I just think it's a little bit inflated. Hoglund's numbers are not pretty. I think eventually he'll be a good pitcher. Like you said, some pretty good pedigree out of Ole Miss, first round pick. His first start was pretty good, but his ERA, expected ERA, the surface stuff is bad. The advanced stuff is even worse. But Luzardo's been really good. I think he's got a good game in him. Hoglund, it's at some point here. So it'd be a lean towards the under 5.5. But under 2.5 earned runs for Luzardo is my favorite play. Are you looking at like a first 5 over, a full game over? How are you playing this?
I was thinking about a Phillies first 5 team total over 2.5. So we're seeing this the same way with different angles. I mean, I like yours as well. Luzardo, sometimes all you need is a change of scenery. But what worked for him this year is when he was in interviews or, however that works with the Phillies, they asked if he would consider throwing a sweeper. And at first he brushed it off, but then he kind of started looking into it and was like, yeah, sure, I think I could try that. Well, it's ended up being his best pitch by far this year. It has a 191 weighted on base average, and the expected is the same number. So what we're seeing is true. It has a whiff rate of almost 50%. It ranks 8th among all pitches, among all pitchers that have been thrown at least 200 times in 2025. So his brand new sweeper, one of the best out there, and that's why we're seeing a strikeout rate from him almost 28%, a 195 ERA. Of course, the expected says it should be 310, but that's still a good number nonetheless. He's 5-0. So it's really no surprise that the Phillies are such a heavy favorite today. 190 for the full game, minus 155 for the first 5. But Sutter Health, one of the best parks for power. That's why, someone's going to score here. We got 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left field at 76 degrees. So I like the Phillies. I'm just trying to find a better angle to back them. I like your Luzardo underruns. I like the Phillies first 5 team total. But let's take a look at another one here. The Marlins and the Angels, and this one a little bit closer on the money line here. Miami, a minus 105 underdog. The Angels, the minus 113 favorite. We have Edward Cabrera and Kyle Hendricks going in this one. What do you like here?
I like the Marlins getting a half a run in the first 5. I just don't like Hendricks. He's had some good games here and there. He's actually pitched better than you'd think, but his stuff is just not there. It's almost so slow it's effective because all these guys throw 98, 100 miles an hour, and he's throwing 85, 86. It throws guys off, or he throws slower and slowest. I think that, pretty much every major league pitcher active right now would strike me out on 3 pitches. I contest that I could hit a ground ball to shortstop off Kyle Hendricks. I truly believe that.
Okay.
Edward, yeah, it's my big declaration. Cabrera has got good stuff. The command comes and goes, but he's got big time stuff. Maybe he's starting to put it together. The last couple starts have been pretty good. So I'll take the half a run here. I think we were talking right before we went off air last night, capping this Angels-Marlins matchup. And the Angels got a tie is minus 220. And I was like, man, you can't make the Angels 220 over anyone. It's not that high today, obviously, but I'll take the half a run in the first 5. Wouldn't be shocked if it's 1-1 or 2-2. I think Cabrera has got a chance to pitch decent. I don't love Hendricks, so I'll take the half a run here. What are you looking at?
So I was thinking the first 5 over 5 at plus 105. You can find that price at Bet365. There's a minus 105 for the over 5 on ESPN Bet. Everywhere else is 4.5. Yeah, I don't like Kyle Hendricks. I don't know why an 86 mile an hour fastball is still considered a fastball, but the velo is down on everything else too. I really don't there's just nothing really great here. And he's thrown the same 4 pitches since 2018. And everything just keeps getting worse. Edward Cabrera, though, while it hasn't been great, he should be due a little bit of positive regression, of 5.50 ERA, 4.45 expected. His walk rate, it's high, but it actually is a career best for him, over 9%. But his strikeout rate is a career worst. I was kind of considering, I'm trying to see what the price is on it. I was considering taking the over on his K prop. I think it's still 5.5 at minus 104, or I think it was plus 105 actually. The Angels do have the highest strikeout rate in the majors against right-handed pitching, 27.6%. So if you can get a good price on that, I wouldn't go beyond minus 105 on his over. I think that could be a worthwhile. Oh gosh, yeah, it was bet up to 6.5. So I would stay away from that now. But that's just on FanDuel. So shop around. Yeah, this game's kind of a weird one though. Don't really feel strongly about it. Let's take a look at the Padres and Braves. And this one I think is really intriguing because I think we could learn a lot about both these teams and the pitchers here. You have Dylan Cease and Spencer Schwellenbach. The Pods, a plus 125 dog. The Braves, minus 151. What are you looking at here?
Played under 4.5, minus 135 at DraftKings for the first 5, and I also played under 2.5 in the first 3. I think this is a pitcher's duel. Schwellenbach's got really good stuff. He was a popular Cy Young, pick before the season. A lot of people thought of him as a sleeper. He's got really good stuff. Padres haven't hit great lately. Braves haven't hit great lately. And Cease, I think we're starting to see him after a rough start to the season, some bad starts, get back on track. Pitched pretty well against the Yankees. Pitched pretty well his last few times out here. He's going in the right direction. We know his pedigree, his track record. He's a good pitcher. So to me, this has all the makings of 1-1 after 5, 2-1, 2-2, something like that. I love that half a run on the 4.5 in the first 5. I love being able to win on 4, and I like the under 2.5 in the first 3. I just think this is like 1-0 after 3 innings. So I'm looking for a pitcher's duel. I don't mind also taking a half a run here with the Padres, where again I think it's close. Runs are at a premium. Winning on that half a run, winning on a tie could come into play. So I think we're looking at a pitcher's duel here. So I have bets on all 3 games that are starting now.
Oh, nice. I would love for it to turn into a pitcher's duel. I feel better about Dylan Cease than Spencer Schwellenbach. I was one of those people you mentioned who thought he could be a sleeper for the Cy Young preseason. Yeah. I think I have him at 35-1. But we have not seen from him what we saw last year in his debut season. He said earlier this year that he's not hitting spots like he used to. If the pitch is supposed to be away, he's throwing it right down the middle, or if he has to bury the slider, he's hanging it. And as a result, his strikeout rate is down from 25.4 to 19.8. His hard hit rate up to 42%. And he's been humbled quite a few times this year. Gave up 6 earned runs in 4 2/3 inning against Toronto. Gave up 6 earned runs in 3 2/3 inning against the Dodgers. Gave up 4 earned run in 7 innings against Boston. I think you look at the Padres team, they they're a volume offense. They rank high in batting metrics, but they rank low in power stats. So if they can kind of chip away at Schwellenbach here, I think that's how they score. So I was thinking the Padres' first 5 team total over 1.5 at -120. So I just need 2 runs. They broke out yesterday with 7 runs. So there's a way we can both win our bets here. You get your first 5 under. Is that what it was? And you can hit your first 5 under if I just get 2 runs from the Padres. How's that?
Works for me. First 5 under 4.5 and first 3 under 2.5. We can both win. And that 1.5 is a key number for the first 5 when you're talking about team totals, because 2.5 is a big number. 1.5 is a small number. Obviously, 1 versus 2, what's the difference? In a first 5 market, that's a really big difference.
Love it. Yeah, and I do agree with you on Dylan Cease. I think he is better than the numbers show. They're skewed by just 1 bad start this season. He gave up 9 earned runs in 4 innings against the Athletics, and that was at Sutter Health. But he's coming into this game throwing 3 straight quality starts. So I would love to see the Dylan Cease of old. But love these bets for us. Okay, we are just getting started here on Live Bet Sunday. Coming up, we got quite a few guests joining us on the show. Ed Egros of FanDuel Sports West to talk MLB and NHL. Matt Moore from the Action Network to talk some NBA. And coming up after this break, it is Tommy D covering the Knicks and the Mets and everything New York. Stay with us. This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill. Just got you started with some of the late baseball games today. First pitch has been thrown in all 3 of those. No runs on the board yet, although the Phillies are threatening with men on first and second. Actually, it looks like the Athletics just scored at the bottom of the first. No score in Miami, LA. Still waiting for a score in Padres, Braves. But let's move to the court now. And now excited to welcome to the show Tommy D, New York sports reporter, formerly of SNY.TV and of Modern NBA. He's joining us on the Progressive guest line now with some thoughts on Knicks Pacers Game 3 tonight. Tommy, thanks so much for spending part of your Sunday with us. Now, a couple of weeks ago, you joined the program and predicted the Knicks beating the Celtics, but how confident are you that they can come back against the Pacers in this series?
Maybe not as confident as I was a couple weeks back. Celtics to me had, and we talked about this, right? A couple of red flags that really jumped out. Obviously, it's hard to predict the Tatum injury there, but the Knicks obviously were able to get past Boston. This series has been a little bit different. I just think that the Pacers are built. That roster is built, to really be strong and solid, and they've proven this, over the course of this season and then obviously the postseason to really just cover 48 minutes. No real weaknesses from minute 1 all the way to the end of the game. The Knicks can't really say that. I'd say they're more of a limited roster. They try to squeeze as much as they can out of the starters. There's always the conversation around the minutes police here in New York with Tom Thibodeau. Which is why guys have to go into the low 40s and sometimes mid 40s. In a game like today, I would expect the lion's share of the minutes to go to the Townses and the Brunsons, of course. And sounds like they may be making a starting lineup change here with bringing in Mitchell Robinson and replacing Josh Hart. But I would expect Hart to come in and play a lot. So it's going to be continue to be a limited rotation. But I just feel like the Pacers are just a better team here. So not much confidence that the Knicks will be able to come back.
Tommy, if you could sign for a split right now, would you in these 2 games in Indiana?
You know what? If I had a little more confidence in the Knicks at home, yes, but they just haven't. They haven't been that good at home during the season, really, and certainly in the playoffs. They just give up too many open looks. They've given up 70 open looks here over the course of the last 2 games to Nembhard and to Siakam last game, of course, who looked like prime Kevin Durant against the Knicks, dropping 39. And Halliburton has gotten a lot of open looks as well. And he's only shooting about 48 or 49% on those open looks. So I would expect Halliburton. He's always going to get a clean look if you've got McBride or Brunson obviously guarding him. So to me, they've got to come in here and win 2, get the series back there 2-2.
Jalen Brunson has been a monster in this series. 43 points, game 1, 36 in game 2. Who else needs to step up for the Knicks to win tonight?
Yeah, to me, it's always been, the focus is always on OG Anunoby. When he plays well, they are really, really hard to beat. But just what I call too many empty calorie games from him. The matchup against Siakam here has not worked out in his favor. He really hasn't been, he wasn't great against Detroit. He had some moments against Boston. He's really got to get into the game early. And it's going to be interesting because I don't know if Robinson coming into the starting lineup solves for that. Robinson is obviously a great offensive rebounder and can keep possessions alive. But if you want to get your players going early like Anunoby, you don't want offensive rebounds. You want good action that lead to rhythm shots that go in and that don't miss, so that you need those second opportunities. So, he's got to do that on the offensive end and be engaged. And defensively, he's got to do a better job against Siakam. Now, again, if they move Robinson into the starting lineup, that probably moves Towns over to Siakam, who the Pacers move out to play that stretch 4 spot, which is not a great matchup for the Knicks at all. So I think that gives Anunoby some relief maybe to then go down and try to get more involved in the offensive end. Brunson's got to take the responsibility of getting him involved too early and often. I think there's a great stat where if he shoots over 14 field goals per game, they're literally almost unbeatable. So that's got to be the case here moving forward.
Tommy, Towns only 28 minutes on Friday night, didn't play for long stretches in crunch time there in game 2. Would you expect more of the same here in game 3 or not necessarily?
He's one of those guys that if he gets in a rhythm and start making shots, then you can live with some of the deficiencies on the defensive end. But it's hunting season, Will, as you know, right? Like they are. Anytime you say Brunson or Towns in the vicinity together, he's going to get attacked, and that's been the case here. So if that is the case in this game 3, it's a desperation game. I can see Tom Thibodeau pulling desperate measures and sitting Towns. The numbers will say that with Towns on the bench, Robinson is able to come in. You move Anunoby to the 4. Some of those numbers are a little skewed because they've been playing against the back end rotation players of the Pacers. But at this point, it's all hands on deck. And if Towns isn't getting it done defensively, you're not taking Brunson off the floor. So it's going to be very interesting to see. If it's a close game, Towns will be in there. But if it's 6-7 points in the third, fourth quarter, and they've got to get stops and try to score at the other end, then you're going to have to live with Towns on the bench.
It looks like this line is starting to move a little bit. Pacers had been holding steady as a 2-point favorite. I'm seeing a lot of 1.5s now. Meanwhile, the total at 224.5. Do you have any leans for the side or total in this one?
I think the total is going to be low. I think it's going to be one of those kind of nervy games coming out, reduced space, second shot opportunities, probably, a lot of missed shots to start. Probably some whistles and some penalty stuff too. So maybe they'll get points there on that end. But we'll have to see how that goes. I think the Knicks probably win this game, to be honest, but I think it'll be a close one.
Anunoby's at 16.5 points. Would you go over considering possible more usage here?
That's a good one. I think he's due for a breakout game. Again, if they're going to win this game, they're going to need him to hit that over. So I'd play that. He's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. When Hart's on the floor, he tends to get obviously rebounds and get you out in transition. So without that, then the ball's going to get in Brunson's hands a little faster. Some dribble handoff action will get Anunoby involved. Preferably from the corners. Really, really adept at making those corner threes and those above the break threes. So, yeah, I could see him probably making 6, 7, 8 shots and hitting that over.
I want to get your thoughts on Sunday Night Baseball tonight between the Dodgers and Mets. Kodai Senga, his K-prop listed at 5.5 strikeouts tonight. What makes him so successful?
Yeah, I know it's the Dodgers. I like that number. I think he's come into this season stronger to me, it looks like. His velocity's up going into, the later innings. which allows legs a little stronger, allows for him to throw that ghost fork. I think that's a high, whiff rate pitch. He's throwing it, I think, at a 38% clip, which is, I think he was around 30 last year. So he's, keeping batters off balance, being able to come in and then, sustaining. If he gets into that 100 pitch range, last year was more in the fifth, early, sixth inning. It's a little bit higher this year, it feels like. So that's, I think, been the key to his success, just really coming in stronger and just, really mastering that pitch and throwing it really whenever. And that sets up, the hard stuff where he's got that four-seamer and some really good velocity. He gets you probably 95, 96 miles an hour. So that change of speed keeps the batters off balance. It's going to be a real good test tonight, of course, with the Dodgers. But I see that 5.5. I'd take the over on that 5.5.
Last minute or so here. The Soto stuff. He's not engaged, not running. Is this something? Is this nothing in your mind?
I think it's nothing. But it's something to talk about, especially if he's not driving in runs at the clip that people may have thought maybe out of the gate here. Big one last night. Hopefully that gets him going. It feels a lot of like, I go back a little ways to like the Manny Ramirez's and guys who are kind of gap and power hitters. That production just comes over time. If you want them trying to stretch out, doubles to triples or beat down infield, singles, that's not why you gave him that big a contract. You don't want to see him getting hurt, pulling hamstrings and things like that. I think he probably could have handled it better. Frankly, saying like, yeah, I think I was doing okay there, but give Mendy a lot of credit. Carlos Mendoza has been a really good manager here so far and helping him, understand what it takes. Obviously he was in New York with the Yankees last year, but Mets are a little bit different. And, I think it's much to do about nothing. And as soon as he starts to hit a little bit better, we won't be talking about it.
Tommy, in about 20 seconds, can you let everyone know where we can find your work?
Yeah, modernNBA.co is the site, and also on Twitter at NBAscout.ai or NBA Scout AI. Really excited to be on here with you, and thanks for letting my son make his TV appearance here a little while ago. Looking forward to a great Game 3.
Yeah, we'll have to get your son's picks next time, but hope you both enjoy the games tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Tommy D, New York Sports Insider, on the Progressive Guest Line. Coming up next, we'll go back to the Diamond, check on some scores. This is Live Bet Sunday.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill, getting you some updates from the Diamond now. The Athletics leading the Phillies 3-0 in the top of the second. Bases loaded for Philadelphia here with no outs. Gunnar Hoagland, we had talked about him, didn't really have much belief in him coming into this one. However, he goes 1-2-3 in the first inning. Bottom of the first is where it got troublesome for Jesus Luzardo. He gives up on the first pitch a 420-foot homer on his sinker. Later, he gives up a single on his sweeper. That's his new pitch and the best one he has. Then Davidson doubles, brings in 2 runners, and boom, the A's have a 3-0 lead. Right now, Hoagland getting into some trouble here. Looks like he just gave up a run, and there's a man on third now with 2 outs in the top of the second. But sometimes life comes at you quick, Will.
Yeah, I'm watching. Bases loaded, nobody out for Philly, but they hit into a double play. So 3-1, man on third, Bohm is up here. So I would imagine this ballpark, the scoring is not done. But Luzardo had good numbers through through all of his starts here. He's been really good. So I guess kind of due for a hiccup, and this is a park and a lineup where those hiccups can happen. Although, like I said, they have not hit great this year. They're playing terribly lately. Mason Miller, who's basically been unhittable for a large part of his career, has gotten touched up a lot. He's been bad. So Phillies were able to score a run in the second inning without a hit. They still do not have a hit. So I didn't see how they put the rally together, but my guess is walks, hit by pitches, that kind of stuff, where Hoagland got himself into trouble, but got himself out of trouble here. So 3-1 as we head to the bottom of the second. We'll see if Luzardo can settle into this game. And Yankees on top of the Rockies.
Wait, you're right.
Yeah, what was it, walks?
Hoagland, he loaded the bases with 3 straight walks.
All things considered,
Yikes.
got out of it pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. I think he threw a total of, hold on, I'm 3, 1. Well, he threw a total of 6 pitches in that first inning, and then comes out in the second, throws 9 to Schwarber, 5 to Castellanos, 9 to Kepler. Well, that's interesting. Go ahead. You were looking at another game.
1-0 Padres. They push a run across top of the first, but we're in the second here. 2 out, nobody on, 1-2 count. So sweating out this first 3 under and first 5 under 4.5. Hopefully we can just get a couple quiet innings and a nice sweat-free winner, a couple sweat-free winners
I'm halfway.
Make up for Luzardo. What do you have? You have Padres
5 team total.
First 5?
It was the Padres, first 5 over 1.5. So got that
shot.
one.
You're in good shape.
Yeah. The Brewers and Pirates about to wrap here. They're in the top of the first, 1-run game. Brewers up 6-5 with 2 outs. If Pirates were to come back and win this one, it would be their 5th win in the last 6 games. Cubs and Reds, this one has been kind of wild. The Reds were leading 8-3 late in the game here. That was 8-3 as they entered the 6th inning. Now the Cubs are up 11-8. So that one's pretty crazy looking. Still no score in Miami and the Angels. What did we have for that one? I did not actually bet that one, but I was
5.
Okay, there you go. Do you Will, do you ever take like alt run lines in baseball and try to play both sides? Because I've seen people try to do that. I mean, with like football, it's so easy, I think, to take alt lines on key numbers and kind of middle the score. But I don't know, I feel like you mentioned something similar yesterday in baseball. Do you ever do that where you bet both sides on the run line?
No, I think there was a game where I wasn't expecting a lot of scoring, Houston, Seattle, where it was like 2 different books I looked at had half a run. Obviously, there was some juice involved, but you could take a half run with either team. Where I was like, wherever you can get the half a run cheapest, I liked it because I thought it would be low scoring. I think it was 2-1 after 5, so it didn't get home. But that was the thought process there. I really don't play too much adjusted when it comes to baseball. By the way, Yankees lead 4-2 over the Rockies, but we are headed for some rain. I believe Warren just got his 7th K in the previous inning and went over, but that was one. If you get like an hour plus delay here and you were sitting on the under, you would have had a bad beat because I don't know. Once you get into these rain delays, who knows if the starting pitchers come back. The Rockies guy, Santazella, who's awful, already got knocked out. So that's one. If you can keep an eye on the weather, and Kevin Roth is a great follow for this stuff. If you can anticipate an early delay or time the delay properly, playing these pitchers, unders, outs, strikeouts, hits, whatever, with the idea that, hey, the rain is maybe an inning or so away, you're going to get like a 2nd or 3rd inning delay, and you can parlay them, you can really hit the lottery because it's correlated to the fact that, you know what, rain's coming soon, you get a delay, the pitchers get knocked out, and the books have to honor those bets as long as the game continues.
Yeah, that's a fantastic tip. Kevin Roth, follow him on Twitter, turn those notifications on. Weather can help you out big time in betting. The Rangers coming back against the White Sox here entered the day. This one was fairly close. Rangers were a -116 favorite. However, just scored 3 runs in the top of the 3rd to take a 5-3 lead. I know we heard from Tommy D just now on the Dodgers-Mets game, but we didn't get to our bets, Will. So let's get into that one. The Dodgers, this has seen some major line movement. I guess it shouldn't be surprising. I believe they opened plus 125. Of course, when you see the Dodgers at that price, everyone's going to jump on it. They're minus 103 now. The Mets, though, still favored, minus 116. But what are you looking at in this one?
It would be Mets first 5 or nothing for me. This great Dodgers lineup, this juggernaut of a team. If you look back the last week, 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever, they're not hitting for whatever reason. So again, it's the Dodgers. They're going to be fine. They're going to, snap out of it. And obviously they got a bunch of pitching injuries, but they have not put up the runs you'd expect them to put up. So Senga's really good. Knack is okay. He's nothing special. He's nothing great. He's decent. I would take the Mets in the first 5. I just think that's one where, you know what, I don't really want, especially with Diaz possibly not available. Diaz came out for a multi-inning save. I don't know that Diaz is available tonight. My guess is he's not, so keep that in mind if that factors into your handicapping. Mets first 5, get in, get out. You know what, if it's tied after 5, I don't know that I want the bet anyway, but I'll happily take my push. So Mets first 5 on the money line with Senga, pretty good pitching advantage here over the Dodgers. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
So I know you just kind of bashed the Dodgers hitting, but I was looking at the Dodgers team total over 3.5. That feels really low for a full 9 innings. They still rank number 1 in the last 2 weeks in weighted on base average and weighted runs created plus against righties. In the last month, I don't think they've dropped below top 5 in those metrics. Yeah. So I still like them. Senga, for as good as he is overall, is due some negative regression. He has a 1.43 ERA, a 3.19 expected, a 4.13 xFIP, which checks out with an 84% strand rate. His strikeout rate is down. He is one of my favorite pitchers because he has the ghost fork, but I do think he's due some negative regression, and I do think he is coming back down to earth because I'm going to look up his game log here. He had not given up more than 2 earned runs in his first 8 starts of the season, but last time out, he finally did 3 earned runs in 6 innings. So still a quality start, but still, I guess technically it is his worst start of the season. That was at Boston. So it looks like he's coming back down to earth. So kind of a mini fade of him. So yeah, I'll do Dodgers team total over 3.5.
Braves just tied the
score. Yeah, go ahead.
Braves just tied the game. 1-0 Padres, man on first. Albies hits a ball that almost got out of the building, hits off the wall, run scores, but Albies gets thrown out at third. So my under 2.5 first 3 is still hanging by a thread, and he did not run hard out of the box. He just stood there, watch it, because this ball got kicked around, caromed. He should have been on third base. Bad base running, lack of hustle there from Albies. It cost him as he gets thrown out at third.
Braves came into this one pretty juicy favorite. They're now minus 102 on the money line. Padres minus 106. By the way, we've been talking about this 14-month deal for VSiN Pro. You're running out of time to sign up for it if you haven't done so already. Through May 31st, you can lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. 2 extra months free when you use the promo code PRO. That's PRO. That's less than 50 cents a day. And you get all of this: a daily email with best bets from VSiN hosts and guests, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video and replays on the VSiN Watch app, full access to VSiN.com's analytics, trends, and expert breakdowns. Plus, get the 2025 NFL betting guide when it drops this summer. Those betting guide, way worth the price of admission. So this deal ending May 31st. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code PRO. That's PRO.
This is Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back into Live Bet Sunday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I'm Grace Remington with Will Hill, keeping you up to date on all the sports happenings today. Update from the Charles Schwab Challenge. Scottie Scheffler entered this tournament a plus 250 favorite. The next favorite on the board was listed at 22-1 odds, which is just insane. Round 1, Scottie starts with an eagle and a birdie, follows it with a bogey on the third, ends that first round with a score of 68. Even worse, in round 2, shoots a 71, follows it up yesterday in round 3 with a 64. He's right back in it. He ended the day 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, 4th in strokes gained approach. and just outside the top 10 in strokes gained putting. So a great round 3 for him. And now he sits tied for 4th. He has 2 birdies and a bogey on the day. He's tied for 4th with Tommy Fleetwood at 8 under, 6 strokes back of the leader, who is Ben Griffin, and he sits at a solo lead right now. That's just one of those crazy things, Will. I mean, never count Scotty out.
Did you have anything in this tournament?
I didn't. I took a break this week. I'm kind of glad I did not bet this one because I just kind of casually glanced at everything before this tournament teed off, and the guys that I was feeling good about aren't doing so well. So I did not lose any money this week, and that is sometimes considered a win.
Sure.
But right now, Ben Griffin, the minus 700 favorite to win. Matty Schmid, who had a really great day putting yesterday, well, actually the entire tournament. He leads the field in strokes gained putting. Right now, he has the solo spot in second, 12 under, 2 strokes back of the lead. He is listed at plus 450 to win. And then Bud Cauley, who has a great comeback story, almost gave up golf. Then someone at his 9-to-5 job persuaded him to come back. So, and here he is sitting in the solo spot for third, 9 under, 5 strokes back of the lead. He has shot a 66, 69, and 69 for the tournament. But we're in the home stretch here. Looks like that final pairing is through hole 12. Update in the hockey game 3 as well. Edmonton Oilers up 2-0 with a little under 5 minutes left in that second period. Those 2 goals came in the first period from Evan Bouchard and Connor McDavid. Bouchard's 6th goal of the postseason, McDavid's 4th. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Edmonton minus 1,200 to win this game. And the little voice in my ear has told me Dallas just scored Lian Bichsel. So it's now 2-1 with 4:27 to go in the second. Coming into this game, the total, depending on where you were, it was 5.5 or 6. Circle listed it at 6. 74% of the bets, 65% of the handle were on the over. Interesting betting splits here, though, for the Oilers. They took the majority of the bets, 62%, and yet the majority of the handle, 54%, was on the Stars. So differing opinions there, but Edmonton leading 2-1 with 4:25 left in the second. Let's go back to baseball now. And, I was keeping an eye on this one. The Royals beat the Twins 2-1 in extra innings. They score with the ghost runner in the top of the 10th. And this is good because in a very competitive AL Central, I need the Royals to do some damage here. It's crazy, Will, looking at, like, everyone loves to rag on these Central divisions, but you have the NL West, which we all knew was going to be good. The AL Central is the only other division here where 4 teams are above 500. And I cannot believe the Royals, out of all these teams, is sitting in 4th place.
Yeah, I still want to make fun of them, though. Is that okay if I still want to make fun of them? They never do anything in the playoffs. The Yankees always kick their butts. The Twins and the Royals in Cleveland, they never win the World Series. So until further notice, even if it's whether it's fair or not, I'm still going to make fun of them. But your point is a good one.
I feel like, I felt like last year was their year, and I wasn't even early. Like, I had all the futures bets on them last year, and they got really unlucky with injury luck at the end of the season. They should have won that division, didn't. I ended up cashing out. I got them 25-1 to win their division, and it closed preseason at 5-1. Isn't that insane?
Wow.
I was able to cash out, I think, at 9-1 with a few weeks left in the season, so still beat the market. But yeah, that's a wild division. I want to look.
That's KC you're talking about?
Yeah. 25-1
that's
last
interesting.
year to win.
Wow, that's a great bet. I remember now that you mention it, Cleveland get off to like a big start, big lead, and the Royals eventually, I think, caught them, and then they played like a doubleheader, and I want to say in the summer, and Cleveland won a couple games against them, and then they just pulled away again. So that was kind of a wild swing of events in terms of like Cleveland with a big lead, they catch them, and then Cleveland pulls away again. So at least he made some money off of it.
I did. I know. That one felt good. Looking at the live odds now for the AL Central, the Tigers minus 240 to minus 300, depending on where you bet. The Twins plus 450. The Royals 11-1. Cleveland plus 750. These are out of order. So Tigers, Twins, Cleveland, KC. That's what the market is thinking right now. Looking at some of these scores, the Mariners and the Stros tied at 3 apiece in the bottom of the 8th. Here come the runs in Phillies athletics now. Phillies up 2-3 in the mid-3rd. Marlins, Angels still low scoring with Miami up 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. And Padres, Braves, we're tracking for your first 5 under there, Will. It is 1 apiece in the bottom of the 3rd.
I got first 3 under 2.5 too, so I am 2 outs away.
Okay.
But it's a long 2 outs. Acuna's up, so good part of the lineup here for Atlanta. Acuna, 2 games back, 2 homers, including 1 on his first pitch. He had like 470 feet. So that's a guy, when he's back, when he's healthy, it's good for the game. He's such an exciting player with his speed, his power. Was not playing great when he got hurt last year. And it was actually on Memorial Day Memorial Day weekend last year when he got hurt. So pretty much a full 365 to get back on the field, and he is back 0-2 count now against Cease. So hopefully we can get 2 outs, cash this one, and be on track here to cash the first 5 under. It's funny you mentioned the Tigers. They have not played well recently. Cleveland beat them a few times this weekend. They haven't hit well. How about the game? It was this morning game. It was I think they have it on Roku as Acuna strikes out. How about the game Skubal pitch? That's about as good a game as anyone's going to pitch all year. Complete game shutout, which just doesn't happen anymore. 13 strikeouts, 2 hits allowed, and no walks. That is, I know Cleveland can't really hit, but that is about as good a game as you could possibly get, and one where Detroit kind of needed because they have not been playing well here.
Yeah, Tarek Skubal is just in a tier of his own at this point. It was no surprise that he came in the favorite for the Cy Young, but, I mean, really, his numbers, they just keep getting better. Like, he's 10 starts into the season now. And his strikeout rate, I thought maybe it would start to normalize. It hasn't. It's still holding strong at almost 34%. The walk rate is a career best for him. 3%. He's walked 3% of batters face. Like, through 10 starts. Hold on. I want to go over to StatCast here and see where it's got to be like the top 1%. Yeah, it is. He's so good. And he's really fun to watch. I think he hit 102.5 miles an hour on his fastball today. Yeah, that's so insane. All right, what else do we got here?
We got a winner in first 3 under here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1-1
Padres,
after 3.
Braves, that's official.
Yeah, thank you to Ozzy Albies who, again, hit one off the wall, got kicked around, skipped around in terms of the outfielders. He wasn't running hard out of the box, just kind of watching it, gets thrown out at 3rd. Would have had a triple, and maybe they get him home because the next guy hit a fly ball. Who knows if things would have been differently in terms of the pitch sequence. But 1-1 after 3, I love these first 3 unders. It's those are good plays. And today, go back to that Tigers-Cleveland game. That's a perfect example of first 3 unders versus first 5 unders because it was scoreless after 3. The first 3 under cashed. Detroit exploded in the bottom of the 5th, scored 5 runs in the first 5 under, lost. So sometimes that 4th, 5th inning, 2nd time, 3rd time through the lineup, that's where all the scoring comes. So these first 3 unders, I think, are really good plays, underrated market.
Yeah, I love that tip. I'm going to start looking at those more. Look at Will taking us to the next level. You know who else can take you to the next level? It's First Bet. If you want to bet the ponies, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream Park, or Saratoga Racecourse, First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now at firstbet.com. That's the number 1, stbet.com. And use the promo code VSIN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days, up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today at firstbet.com. Once again, that is the number 1, stbet.com. All right, we are through the first hour of the show. Coming up next, getting back into baseball. This is Live Bet Sunday.